Good morning and welcome to Rising. We've got a great show for you today. Batya, what do we have?
Maria Teresa Kumar joins us to discuss why Voto Latino is aiming to take down Arizona Democratic Senator Kyrsten Sinema. Then Mohammed Yunus and Dan Holloway will be with us to discuss the developing situation between Russia and Ukraine. And Andrew Feldman and Rachel Bovar join us for our Rising panel to discuss Spotify's decision to drop Neil Young's music after his Joe Rogan ultimatum.
But the biggest news of the day was certainly the announcement that Justice Stephen Breyer is retiring from the Supreme Court, ending nearly 3 decades on the bench as an 80-year-old Clinton nominee. Breyer's announcement comes after months of will he or won't he retire chatter and clears the way for President Biden to seat Breyer's replacement on the conservative majority court. While on the campaign trail, Biden pledged to nominate the first black woman to the Supreme Court. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said yesterday that Biden is intent on keeping that promise. Let's watch.
The president has stated and reiterated his commitment to nominating a black woman to the Supreme Court and certainly stands by that.
Democratic strategist and former political director at Priorities USA, Kristal and author of Black Victim to Black Victor and the founding of Wrong Speak Publishing, Adam B. Coleman, are here to discuss this topic with us. Welcome to you both and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start with you, Kristal. What does this announcement mean? Why is it important? And what do you make of President Biden keeping his promise, promising to keep his promise to elect a black woman here?
Absolutely. This will be a very important nomination for not only the court, but the country, but specifically for the court. We have not seen a black woman be nominated and actually seat as a justice on the Supreme Court. And this will shift the tint of the court. It will also, make sure that there are more voices included in the highest decisions that are made in our land. While it won't change up the makeup of the court because Justice Breyer is a liberal justice, it will allow a younger voice to have precedent on the court and shape it for years to come. The other thing is the president made this promise during his campaign. And so this is another promise that he has to keep. We've already seen what's happened with voting rights and policing reform. And so the black voters of his base are expecting him to deliver on this promise to nominate a woman, a black woman. And he has a really good short list of about 6 women who've already been vetted and should be able to be confirmed.
So Adam, but what do you make of, yes, I know he made this promise, but is it right or is it wrong, to pick your Supreme Court justice, very important position, there's only 9 of them, it doesn't happen all that often, we get to replace them, for immutable characteristic reasons, race or sex. How do you feel about that?
Well, this type of decision-making coming from the Biden administration is one of the reasons why I stopped supporting the Democrat Party. It's the idea that we need to have someone choose a black person because we don't feel that they can actually compete for a particular position. Just to make it clear, I have no problem with a black woman being on Supreme Court nor any other race. If this becomes some sort of achievement because someone earned their way through and someone was able to compete for the particular position, then I see no problem with it. My problem is that they are specifically making a group of people, specifically black women, as being similarly like a charity case. Because why can't these women compete against anybody else? Why is it that their identity is the first thing that is the most important, and then everything else is about their competency? So I think that is incredibly troublesome, the way that the Biden administration uses identity politics to select, to advocate. I think is absolutely troublesome for our country when we're supposed to see each other as equals, right? Or at least we're trying to uphold that. But I think the other thing that we don't really consider is, I'm not a legal scholar. I don't really know too much about these particular nominees, but I would imagine they spent their entire careers working hard to stand above the crowd. And then for them to have this opportunity, specifically because they're black, kind of diminishes their hard work.
So Kristal, I'd love to hear you respond to those points. They're very interesting points. What would you say back?
Yeah, I totally understand, his point of view, but I also think that the court has not been fair and balanced for its entire history, quite frankly, because we have not had true representation of every single race that encompasses the fabric of America. And when we talk about diversity and inclusion, we talk about, America being this melting pot. The court doesn't look like that. And so, unfortunately, we're in a situation where we are naming folks because they are representing of a particular race and class of people, but we also don't have this on the court. And so I don't think that this is an affirmative action case. I don't think that this is a case where the president is attempting to just pick a Black woman. He actually campaigned on this. And so we have to go back to the root of this. This is something that he campaigned on. He made this promise to Jim Clyburn when he was, in South Carolina. And the president should deliver. I don't think that there should be anyone who would question why a Black woman deserves a seat on the court when there has literally never been a Black woman on the court. I think that we deserve, as Black folks and Black Americans in this country, we deserve more than 1 or 2 seats, quite frankly. And so this is just beginning to level the playing field for what we have seen historically, which has not been the case.
Well, who is up for the job specifically if Biden decides to keep his promise? We wanted to look at some of those names. A few are floating around Capitol Hill. In particular, 4 frontrunners Biden may be considering include Ketanji Brown Jackson, who serves on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit, Leandra Kruger, who serves on the California Supreme Court, J. Michelle Fields, a federal district court judge in South Carolina, and Sherilyn Ifill, a prominent civil rights lawyer who has served as president of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. Bill Kristal predicted that from here on, Biden could pick Harris for the court, have her resign as VP, and Biden picks Romney as VP on the basis of national unity. A very mockable bad tweet. I would bet him, any or you or anyone else, any amount of money that will not happen because Kamala Harris doesn't want to be on the Supreme Court. She wants to be president. Why would you, Supreme Court is much more work than just having a good shot at being president in 4 or 8 years or whatever. What do you think about? How would you like to see Kamala Harris as get that seat, however unlikely it might be?
From my perspective, absolutely no. It sounds like to me the women that Biden has already selected, or at least put in his list as for people to select, they sound highly qualified individuals. This idea that we're basically going to treat our institutions as a game where we can just swap people inside and out, to me is insulting, especially coming from someone like Bill Kristal. So I don't see how that would be at all plausible, to try and swap Kamala Harris in and out of positions just because.
Kristal, I feel so divided on this because on the one hand, I really agree with you. We're long overdue to have that representation on the court, to have a Black woman in that position. But on the other hand, I do sort of hear what Adam is saying, that there's something a little undermining in saying we're only picking from a pool that it represents 6% of the population as opposed to the whole population, and then we're going to get the most qualified person, and that person will, of course, happen to be at some point a Black woman. Respond to that. Help me work through this.
Yeah, I think what's undermining is that there has not been a Black woman on the court. And again, we need a court that is reflective of the whole of America. And our court just isn't that. I mean, even the fact that the court is very conservative leaning, and obviously I am a Democratic, strategist. And so I am for more Democrats sitting on the Supreme Court just because that's the way that I view politics. Mm-hmm. But even in that fabric alone, the Republicans have not nominated a woman of color, right? And so when I think about, who encompasses the court and what it reflects on, and the things that they're literally litigating over that affect day-to-day lives, like Roe versus Wade, like affirmative action, like a lot of these libel cases and, election laws. Those are things that need a diversity of opinion. They need a diversity of experiences. And white men and white women are not the only folks who should be litigating at our highest level in this country.
Kristal and Adam, we really appreciate your expertise today. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
Stay with us. We're about to tell you what's on our radars coming up next.